Democratic Congressman Tim Ryan of Ohio. Tim, you had a strong reaction to that appearance by Minority Leader Schumer. Your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, I just, sitting here in Ohio and watching that all go down, you just think that is not the messenger. And that's not kind of the visual we need, I think, to start turning this thing around. And I just think, Schumer's brand is not good. And all of the things that you guys just, itemized and illustrated, it doesn't matter if you don't have a message and a messenger that can communicate that thing. I think guys like Chris Murphy are lighting it up right now. Schatz is doing a great job. There are people out there that should be in front of the cameras, and there are certain people that should not be. The stakes are too high. And I thought, those things look a lot like political rallies. This is a very serious time in our country's history. And I understand the importance of things like USAID. I sat on the Defense Appropriations Committee. Those programs are critical, pushing back on China, on Russia, lifting people out of poverty. But are we going to die on the foreign aid hill? No, that's not really a good idea. And so I think between the message and the messenger, let's stay focused on these privacy issues. I thought Liz Schuler did a great job from the AFL-CIO. Let's put Murphy and Schatz and these guys, others in front of the camera. And you just can't go with the same brand that just got our clocks cleaned, just a couple months ago.
Well, the USAID issue, though, I think is more than just, again, I think it's more than just foreign aid. And I say just foreign aid. I understand that may not be popular with a lot of Americans. But as I've said time and again, we don't just provide foreign aid for them. We provide foreign aid for the strategic advantages that it gives the United States, for the intel that we get on al-Qaeda, the intel that we get on ISIS, the intel that we get on Chinese spies, the intel that we get on Russian spies, the intel that we get on Iran, all across whatever region the USAID goes into. So that's certainly important. But Tim, this is what I don't understand about any of this DOJ stuff. I think if you and I were there, let's say you and I were there this week, and we were members this week, you and I would hold a press conference. We would get the smartest lawyers around us. We would file for injunctive relief. We would hold a press conference in front of the Supreme Court. We would demand our D.C. Circuit. We would demand immediate action because people are being fired. American interests across the globe are being shattered. Children are starving across the world. The United States' reputation is being irreparably damaged, all by an unconstitutional act where you've got this billionaire running around doing shit that members of Congress do. He doesn't have the right to do what he's doing. And we would probably even say that at the press conference, not saying it screaming and yelling, but just kind of laughing are you kidding me? He can't do this, and go for injunctive relief. I've asked the question 1,000 times. When are they going for injunctive relief on a guy going into agencies and shutting down agencies when he just doesn't have the constitutional right to do that? Is it really that hard?
Well, I only wish I could have served with you in Congress, Joe, because that would have been a lot of fun. But that's kind of what I'm saying here is is this the best we could do? Where is the injunctive relief? Where's the articulation to rank and file American citizens as to what the strategy is here and the legal strategy? And what's the legislative strategy? What's the appropriation strategy? Get us in on the game here so we know that there's actually a game plan here for us to push back on this. And I think when you're talking about debt ceiling relief, appropriations bills, you better drag Musk's rear end before Congress. This guy needs, not for Congress's sake, but for the American people. Here's what makes it complicated is the American people know the government isn't working for them. They know the institutions are broken. But who's going to fix it? And Democrats should have some plan on reinventing government like Bill Clinton did over the years and something like that. But the reality of it is you've got to bring these folks before Congress. They need to articulate to the American people exactly what it is that they're doing. You need to have that legal strategy that starts, shutting some of this stuff down. It needs to happen immediately because the rank and file people out here don't want to see a campaign event with Chuck Schumer. I'm sorry to say it. I don't mean to be a jerk, but that's just not going to get people animated and ready to do what they need to do to push back on some of this stuff.
So Mike, there's obviously always been frustration with the federal government. It doesn't move quickly enough. We need people that can go in and raise hell and do what Elon's doing or do what somebody else is doing. But Mike, we have survived for 245 years, in part because Madison created a constitution and Madison created a government that was intentionally intended to frustrate the likes of people like Elon Musk. I'm not just saying Elon Musk. I'm just saying in general, the thoughts of, and I'm not calling him this, but we've heard this throughout history, petty tyrants who would go in and try to take over the government. So Madison, forgive me for having to explain this, but obviously a lot of members of Congress didn't take civics classes. We have three co-equal branches.
Article 1.
And I will tell you, the Article 1, Congress, they spend money. They appropriate money. They authorize money. And then they give that money to the agencies and the federal government. And yes, that's where the president goes in and he knows how much money he has used there. And then the courts decide what's constitutional, what's not constitutional. So people go, oh, Congress doesn't work. It's too it's supposed to be frustrating. You got a bill, you got to take it through the subcommittee, and you got to fight to get it out of the subcommittee. So then it goes to the committee of the House, and then you've got to fight and work to get it out of the committee, and it's compromised and it's chopped up and it's frustrating. And then it goes to the House floor, and if you're lucky, you get 218 votes. And then the Senate, the House of Lords, as we call them, they get their say. And the House of Lords determine how they're going to change it. Then we have a conference committee. Then it goes to the president, who either signs it or vetoes it. He doesn't have a line item veto. He can't decide what he's going to take and what he doesn't want to take. And I will say the Trump White House right now is setting themselves up for just a nightmare when they try to negotiate with Democrats when they do actually need Democratic votes, because they'll say, well, wait a second, my bill that I worked on for 4 years, that I finally got, the appropriations for and the authorization for, you just line item vetoed it in an unconstitutional way. Why do I deal with you at all? So yes, it's frustrating, but what has it led to? It led to an American century. It led to our government continuing 245 years later. And I will say, despite the problem with a $36 trillion national debt, despite the problem with inflation over the last 4 years, the United States government is still, our economy remains the envy of the world, and our military, relative to the rest of the world, more powerful than any time since the end of World War II. So we're really going to just completely throw the rule book? We're really going to just throw the Constitution out the window because, well, the vibe right now is a frustrated vibe? Our feelings are, we feel like we want to see this guy go around, run roughshod without any constitutional boundaries? No, Mike, please. This is ridiculous.
You know, Joe, God love you. You've been talking now for a couple of minutes about an idealism and a sense of innocence that the country and the United States Congress, both houses, used to have. I believe that that's gone. Not forever, but it's gone right now. And it's certainly been diminished by the appearance of Donald J. Trump. And Tim, to you, I would ask you